Okay, so Sexton, he went over the bars on a straightaway. What do we do?
It was more like a front flip.
What do we do?
It's like someone hit his front brake and he just. Boom,
I thought a sniper got him. Maybe a sniper got him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
Coop's little
gunslinger.
BB gun got him.
Yeah.
Bang bang. You know?
What do you say? If you're Lars and you go back to the truck, what do you say?
I think he needs to do like what Aaron Rodgers did and just go into this fucking dark house and just try and figure out, find your whatever. Dude, I don't know.
This one was the worst, I think.
It was the weirdest.
Was this the weirdest one?
I think it was the weirdest crash. I mean, Oakland was pretty weird too, but you could see
later.
why it
Oakland
happened.
was later.
Yeah.
He had more of a win in the bag than this one.
I mean, this one was just like he found a trampoline in the ground and just like boom, gone. Like it just was so weird.
I said this weeks ago, and I'll just say it again. I think all you can do if you're Honda, if you're his dad, his inner circle is like, you got the speed. We'll get him next week. See you next week. Like we'll do like I don't think you want to like say slow down or he's just got
because he's not out of control.
No, that's what I mean. No, he's not
perfectly in
He's
control.
not A-Ray.
No.
Yeah, no, it's
no.
So yeah, I just think you got to be like, you got this. You got these guys covered. I mean, again, you mentioned it. He stalled. They got on him, and he immediately pulled out 2.5 seconds again, like it was no problem.
Yeah.
Do you look at that crash and look at it as a mental lapse? Because I think that's a big thing everyone's latching on to is like, oh, mental lapse. I think a mental lapse is stalling it, tucking the front. I don't look at doing a front flip down a straight as a mental lapse.
But it was a tuck of the front. He started tucking the front, and then it knifed in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know, Phil. To me, and I've raced a lot, but you're pro racer. To me, you're so focused in the moment on laying down a hot lap and pulling away and racing that you're not thinking at that point, I got this one. You're not drifting off in your mind to let mental lapses happen. I would guess at that point in the race, he is so hyper focused on riding that he's just focused on riding.
Yeah, like Oakland was later in the race. Like I don't know if he started thinking like, 'cause the first little bit you don't really. I couldn't tell you what happens in the first 5 laps of a main event. No idea. But when you get later on into the race, when things kind of calm down, then you start thinking of what's going on. So, but that one there this weekend, I'm actually speechless. I mean, I was in the semi watching it happen. And I just said, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
I was just like, "Dude, what?"
I saw the whole thing right in front of me. I just happened to be looking at him at that moment, and I'm like, what the hell?
Dude, it's like the tracks are so gnarly and you're crashing on a straightaway, you're crashing on an on-off, you're crashing on the corner
downside.
in Oakland.
Yeah,
just like, dude, what? It's not like he's carwheeling on the 3 on-off, cross-running and dying. It's just,
I'll tell you what happens in this case is, and I've been there as a mechanic, is Chase is awesome. He is a great dude. But you start looking at the machine at some point and start going like, what is my setup doing to keep throwing me off? Whether it's a shock, a front end, multiple things could be going on. But it's hard for a rider to have as many things like Chase has had and not start thinking about a motorcycle.
It's years now of this.
Yeah.
It's years. It's not just,
Well, so I have a question about the machine then. We think Chase is going to KTM next year. I mean, a lot of people think that. And if he is, we know the KTM is a little bit better of a turning machine than the Honda, at least. It likes to turn down out of corners better. The front end is a little bit more stable. Is that the one area that if it's cleaned up on Chase, that it's all gravy? Like if he goes to KTM next year and the bike turns like a charm, that we're like, well, he figured it out.
When you talk to Aaron here on the show or you talk to Christian Craig, they're telling you they still get used to a steel frame after years of being on aluminum. It doesn't come right away. Phil, we went from JGR to Husky. What was that like?
I liked it though.
You liked it immediately?
I really did like the Husky.
Did it turn well?
So,
but I don't even mean like but the adjustment from aluminum to steel and all of that.
Yeah, it was positive.
Okay.
I can't say anything bad about it.
Right,
I actually did. I liked it.
Well, I think Christian's still not 100% there with feel yet after years of riding aluminum, and AP mentioned it on the show that it took him a while. So.
Yeah, but is that the steel frame or is that suspension and chassis? Because there's a difference.
Well, I think it's everything, all of it. The steel frame flexes more, and then you use bigger forks, right? They got 52s on there with a big front axle. KTM's trying to make a steel frame stiffer. I think the aluminum guys are trying to make aluminum frame softer. You know, they're trying to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Both companies, right? So
I think it's more suspension deal than it is chassis deal, in my personal opinion. So
right.
You know.
It's just at this point, he needs a week off. That's for sure.
The biggest issue is that, like, I don't feel like there is an easy thing to point to, which is why, like you say, then you start thinking about
That's
it,
what I mean.
pointing fingers. Maybe like if it would be so much easier for him to accept and handle if it was like, yep, I did that wrong. Sweet.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't think
No.
you can come up with something.
I think if you're in his inner circle, you're watching him get thrown over the bars on a straightaway, and you're like, what is going on with the motorcycle here?
I don't know. Maybe he needs Adderall. I don't know. Like, maybe he has ADHD, and it's just like he needs Adderall. Go get a TUE and test it out.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
He's so good.
He is.
He's so good. He stalled it, and he had Ken Roxon and Eli Tomac and everybody right behind him. And then he's like, oh, I got to go again. Here we go. I'll open up another lead.
I mean, if it feels a little like Stu. It feels like every week he's just got the raw speed to beat these guys, and something is going to maybe go wrong that stops it from happening.
Is it 8 out of 11 pole positions? I think it is. I think it was 7 out of 10 last week, and now it's 8 out of 11.
Dominating pole positions. Like, you know, 0.8 of a second to a second. It's just like, where do you find that speed against the greatest supercross riders in the world? Daytona, for instance, like, I don't understand. How do you out-qualify people by that much? And then you don't win the main event.
I have no idea. It's just. It's by far, I think, the most confusing thing to figure out this year is what is just. It's just compounding mistakes, compounding issues that happen seemingly out of nowhere. Like you guys are saying, it doesn't feel like there's one thing you can point to. I think it's more the front end of the bike based on some of the crashes I've seen. But if you fix the front end of the bike, does that fix everything else? No, because then he clips pegs onto a table and goes down. Like it's just over and over again, little things like that keep making this happen.
The biggest thing that sucks about this is, okay, obviously he was 17 points down going into Seattle. Mm-hmm. If he'd won again, got back-to-back wins, not only would he have gained points, but then he'd have confidence, and then I feel like that would have taken him back into the title fight, and this really would have been something amazing.
Yeah.
I know it's 254 for D, but Sexton and Jet kind of have the same, and Hunter, they all kind of have the same riding style. They're all pretty smooth. They're not overly aggro. You know what I mean? But it's 254 for D. They're not tucking the fronts. No. At all. Like, there's never. Yeah. I don't think so. Why is that happening to Chase? What's so different other than it being 254 for D? I know the inertia is different, the weight load, but still, like. Yeah.
I don't know, man. If I had the answer, I'd sell it to Honda. Make a bunch of money.
I think you'd be worth a lot of money if you had that.
This is your ship.
Yeah, I think it's me. Because Sewer also crashed on a straightaway this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of similar. Kind of like went over the bars.
Yeah.
So maybe it's me.
I don't know. It's bizarre for sure. But right now, we got a hell of a title fight. Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb. What did you make of your buddy Coop and the guns in the heat race?
I love it. I ate it up. You know, he came back after the heat race, and I was outside because our semis were next to each other, and I gave him, you know, and
the guns.
And he just grinned. You know, like, you know, he eats that shit up. So I don't.
Yeah. I think you want to be careful giving the guns to Chase Sexton. Like, hey man, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it. I don't think he cares. I think he knows he can go 20+1 with Chase. I mean, you've seen it in Tampa, and you know,
he's
like
ahead of him right now.
He knows if he can stay with Chase for the first 4 or 5 laps, you know, by lap 12, he'll still be there. You know, Chase can only sprint that long for so many laps until he's got to come back down to earth and be normal like the rest of them. So I think they all just have to be balls to the wall to hang on for that little bit, and be uncomfortable until either Chase cracks himself or they wait till a little later in the main event till.
Yeah. Well, no, listen, I don't like it myself, but I like watching it. But I wouldn't, if it was my son or if I was working with him, I'd be like, don't poke the dude who's like the fastest man in the world right now. Like maybe, but hey.
Well, it's pretty funny because Frankie Latham said, you know, at the end of the main event, I said, hey, that's a pretty good night for the way the day is. He goes, yeah, really good day, but you know, did that gunslinger, and in that main event, Cooper shooting BB guns and. Eli was shooting 45, so it's kind of a little bit different. Need a little more.